Republican candidates now seem to be backing away from their pledge to support the eventual nominee. It sure seemed to be the case in last night's CNN town hall.
Do you continue to pledge whoever the Republican nominee is?
No, I don't anymore. Look,
you don't?
No.
I'm not in the habit of supporting someone who attacks my wife and attacks my family. I think that is going beyond the line.
If the nominee is somebody that I think is really hurting the country and dividing the country, I can't stand behind them.
If the candidates follow through on their threats, how much damage could this cause the Republican Party as a whole? Joining us now from Washington with reaction, Molly Hemingway, the senior editor for The Federalist, and Kelly Riddell, deputy opinion editor for The Washington Times. Kelly, what about it? The GOP seems to be in at least a bifurcated state, if not a trifurcated state. We have the establishment concerned about Trump. Trump saying the establishment was going to steal this thing from me. Where are we?
Well, I think we're going to head for a brokered convention or contested convention. At least that's what the establishment wants. This whole thing backfired on the RNC. Back in the summer, back in September, they were certain that Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio was going to win this nomination outright. And they needed to control Donald Trump. So they came up with this whole loyalty pledge as a way to get Donald Trump not to go third party, which they knew would then hand the election to Hillary, and a way to get his supporters in line. And now we're just seeing the whole thing crumble before their eyes.
Yeah, Molly, what is this third-party promise that everyone signed and now no one wants a part of?
Absolutely true that the Republican Party is to blame here, but also the media are the ones really pushing this. They're so obsessed with this idea. They're pestering candidates to see if they support who the eventual nominee will be. And that's because it's in the media's interest to completely blow up the GOP. That's the only way that Hillary Clinton could win this race.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure. I think we're just kind of reporting what's going on. I was almost late for the taping of this show because I was on the phone with a very high-level RNC official who basically told me this. Get this. There's a Rule 42 in the convention, in the RNC, that says all the rules can be changed. And I said to him, I literally said to him, you mean you can change all the rules at the convention and make 1237 irrelevant? He said, well, I'm not sure about that rule, but all the rules technically can be changed. The voting public right now is leaning back going, this is exactly what's wrong with politics.
That's exactly right. And people don't care about loyalty oaths. The woman who's trying to drag her kids through the grocery line, she doesn't care about loyalty oaths. The dad who's trying to figure out how to pay for his kids' college tuition, he doesn't care about it. They care about who the candidates are, what their positions are. And the more time you spend on this completely frivolous issue, that helps those candidates who don't have substance.
Kelly, let me two things happened in the last couple of weeks. A guy named Curly Hoagland, who's a North Dakota GOP delegate, said, quote, we choose the nominee, the delegates, not the voters. 4 or 5 days later, Diana Orrick, who is a Nevada GOP delegate, said, quote, people are in the misconception that it's the results of caucuses and the results of these primaries that determine who becomes the nominee. It's not the voters. My head is exploding.
Well, I mean, and this is why you see the rise of Trump, this anti-establishment. The people have gotten wise. They know the game is rigged, and that's why they're going for Trump. I mean, just last week you had top RNC officials going to different conservative groups explaining what a contested convention looks like and what all of these rules are. You have John Kasich betting his whole bid of the presidency on a rule change, on a contested convention. I mean, what has he won? The state of Ohio? Whoop-de-doo, his home state. I mean, you have Marco Rubio this week basically saying that he's going to hold all of his delegates bound to him so that he can go to the convention floor powerful and ready to negotiate. This whole thing just stinks, and the American public is fed up with it.
Molly, and what Kelly is referring to is one of the rules that Mitt Romney put in 2012 was that the future nominee has to have 8 states where they earned a majority of the voters' votes. Now, they're now saying that could actually eliminate Ted Cruz and John Kasich from actually being the nominee. So this Rules Committee may have to tackle that one first. What is the public going to say if they say all bets are off, Romney's rule that was supposed to apply doesn't apply anymore?
That rule won't hurt Ted Cruz at all. It would certainly hurt John Kasich. But contested conventions are precisely for this type of moment in politics when people are having trouble coming up with who they want for their nominee. A contested convention can actually help heal people and help them come behind one candidate. Everybody wants changes. Everybody wants dramatic changes. And a contested convention might be the only way that people can come to unity heading into a tough race against Hillary Clinton.
Kelly, do you agree with that? Do you think a contested convention is a good thing for the GOP?
I disagree, especially if Donald Trump takes Wisconsin and takes New York and wins the popular vote. I just don't see how he can go into the convention only a few hundred delegates short, or 100 delegates short, and come out a loser, and the American people are going to be okay with that.
All right, Molly, I said this. I posed this to Karl Rove. I said, what if Donald Trump shows up to the convention in Cleveland with 1,236 votes or 1,200 votes, whatever it might, short of the majority, but close? What happens? And Karl said to me, rules are rules. And then I said, yeah, but the rules could be changed at the convention, right? And then you get that look like, let's not talk about that. Let's move on. I mean, that really will tick off a lot of people, won't it?
But this is why you have a party. Parties exist to help make these decisions. And this is where Donald Trump has not been served well.
Molly, don't you have a party to help nominate the people's choice for president or the GOP nomination?
Absolutely. And that happens at a convention. That's what we're doing in the primary process. We're picking delegates to a convention so they can make a good decision. And it is important for Donald Trump to start figuring out that he needs to pay a little bit more attention to how he's playing that delegate game.
No doubt.
Yes.
Molly, no doubt, Kelly, respond to that Donald Trump campaign should be all over that rules committee and be talking to these state levels. Each state has a convention. Those delegates who ended up originally voting or being bound to Donald Trump may want to switch. He needs to be pounding that one. But Kelly, I'm sorry. What happens if the guy who with the most votes in the most states and the most delegates ends up not being the nominee?
I've talked to voters out there who are Trump supporters. I mean, when he says that there's going to be riots, that's not an exaggeration. That's not inciting anything. The people are going to be so upset. Some said there's going to be a call to arms. Others have rolled their eyes. I mean, it will not be good.
All right. Molly and Kelly are going to say thank you very much. Up next on this special edition of the